And it makes a positive difference for all the children.
I think it's a lovely discussion for committees, and then, you know, what about that parent that doesn't turn up for anything, you know, and it's like, we won't dismiss them. It's like, okay, let's put our thinking caps on. What can we do? How can we? I'm going to position myself, because I know she gets out the car under the tree. I'm going to position myself there at that time and say good day and walk my child in with them. You know,
I think it is something good to bring up with our committees. So, like, I know that when I went to my first, the AGM in our first committee meeting, it was all about how we govern the kinder, how we structure it, what the environment's about, not so much about the people in it.
So and now you don't have to do that.
The world's up for change.
Yeah, that's all gone.
Serious change we've been going through over the last few years, and the role of everyone is changing. We've got cluster management now. We manage the staff. We manage the finances. We manage the services compliance with the regulations. We manage the quality now. So, you know,
frees you up.
Yeah, it actually the more important stuff actually gets to be done now, which is making sure everyone's there, that the children have the best time possible, that people are connected. That's the critically important stuff.
Got a couple of stories that parents have told me. My sister-in-law tells me this story about her eldest. Her eldest and mine are 3 months different. They're both 25 now, I might tell you. First day at primary school, right? And so my sister-in-law leaves her little munchkin, goes back to the car, and there she's blubbering, as I was doing myself on the other side of town. So she's having a bit of a weep and getting into her car, and then another parent just says, you know, I feel a bit the same, is this your first? So the two of them are weeping, and then somebody else is weeping. They all ended up at the pub, and then now, as I say, the boys are now 25, and they're all friends, still. So all the way through primary school, all the way through secondary school, and it's your lovely comment, Sandra, about connectedness. They were connected over that. And at my workplace where I am now, I said to one of the women one day, you know, you're very close to, you know, two other, she said, don't you know that story? And I said, no, same story. The three of them didn't know each other, you know, now work at the same workplace, spooky, had their children, first day primary school, and one of the women of those three said, oh, look, how are you all feeling, you know, and because there's all this pretence about feeling okay when we're not okay, we're all blubbering in the rose bush, and same thing.
Already got the champagne chilling in Elmore.
And that's okay too, But the same thing, so those three gathered others together, went out for coffee and still friends. But that's a lovely comment about we need to feel safe where we take our children, and we need to feel like we have a sense of belonging, and part of that is having a role to play, you know, having something to do, whether it's bringing the egg boxes in or whatever it is. But I think it's a bit of a mission for the committees about how can we engage every single person and not be judgmental about the ones that won't do everything, you know, but what can they do? Do they want to do something? And if they can't do anything at all but barely get their child there and back, you know, and pick them up, then we'll say hello to them. We'll be, you know, when we see them, we'll say good day. Maybe we invite their child over. Whatever you can manage. Got to feel safe about what you offer as well. Yeah. Other comments? What about the four of you? Is this some ideas?
I guess I looked at joining a committee as making, or my role would be to make my child's experience the best it could be by helping at the kinder. And then, I see the role in our committee, because it has been with LMPA quite a while, that it is part of building the community
of the centre.
And trying to do it well. We haven't been too successful yet, but hopefully we can do it.
And I think there's all different definitions of well. Everybody will have a different impression about that, what that means. So that's your lovely experience of that, you know, of what you want to do, and then it's about, what about the families that aren't that brave, you know, that aren't able to join the committee for whatever reasons, don't speak English, or, you know, scared of the centre or whatever. How are they going to have that same feeling that you want to have at being on the committee? That's a bit of a task, isn't it? A bit of a mission.
The thing that sticks out for me here is that every single one here is a woman, and about getting fathers involved. We're pretty lucky. We've got a couple of dads that happily do stuff, but I think it can only be a more positive thing for the children if there's more fathers around, especially for children who come from a single parent family where it's a mother,
just-
because they need a male role model sort of thing. And I think that's a really important thing.
Yeah, and that could be a challenge for committees, couldn't it?
Yeah.
How
That's
we
a
involve
society thing too, I think. Like fathers at the AGM, my husband came. I think there was 2 or 3 fathers at our AGM, and we were new to the kinder. So the fact that fathers don't feel comfortable to come and say, "Okay, I'm here."
Yeah. What does that mean?
And I think that's a really important thing too. That I didn't feel the transition when I put my hand up to volunteer to be president. I had no idea the expectations or what the committee was about. So I think that's the transition, and the knowledge isn't out there. So you don't have the jobs list up at the AGM saying it's not that scary to put your hand up because this is what's expected. So if that information was out there before the AGM, when we all enrolled our kids, is there an information session like an open day or something?
Wasn't there a comment was it from one of you that said, about opening up the committee meetings so then in fact people can attend but not vote, but at least they won't be so scared and go, oh, this is a committee meeting. Oh, phew.
We actually minute, and I guess we can do it because we're smaller, we actually minute every parent's name even if they're not there, and they're still considered committee members if they're not taking on an active role. Now, I realise we can do that because we're smaller, but that gives everyone an inclusion feeling, and that minute goes out and stuff. So, maybe if you're in a bigger centre and there's a meeting coming up, say to someone, do you want me to put in an apology for you? And they feel a bit more involved, even if they can't. Put an apology, thank you. It does.
Have a social thing before the meeting.
Yeah.
Can I give you a lift? Nice one.
Yeah.
There was we had this discussion a few years ago on our committee. People weren't sort of looking forward to putting their hands up for roles, and it came up in that meeting that perhaps that person might need to be encouraged. It's like, you would be great in that role, because we don't often recognise our own personalities, and sometimes it takes that encouragement from those around you.
Yeah.
You sort of go, well, maybe I could do that.
Somebody thinks I can do it.
Yeah, and all of a sudden your whole esteem changes.
Yeah. And then the idea of actually being at a meeting, before actually just seeing what actually happens can actually turn you away. And say, well, at least it's breaking down the barriers of knowledge. At least we now know what happens on these committees. And as you're saying, Sandy, they changed. The whole role of them changed. Not nearly as scary. Not all that governance stuff that we used to have to be so responsible for. It's actually like freeing us up to, okay, well, what will we do now?
And one of the things LMPA is doing, because we don't want parents to not be involved, we want families and parents and committees to be fully involved in their kindergartens and in LMPA as well. So we actually run a series of stakeholders meetings, and we run one in Bendigo, one in Gannawarra and one in Swan Hill, and we do those each term. And we invite a representative from each kinder to be part of the big stuff, making the big decisions, talking about the big stuff that's happening in early childhood, and there's a lot of it happening at the moment. And things that you were talking about, having information about committees when you enrol your children, that's the sort of stuff that we can do as a group. And as a group, we can actually have some real strength to be able to talk to people like the Department of Education, Kindergarten Parents Victoria, Early Childhood Australia, the people that are developing policy and developing process around kindergartens. As a group, we actually have a voice in that. Not just one little kindergarten out here with its little kindergarten committee, 26 kindergarten committees together with 3,000 parents involved and over 100 early childhood staff. So through that avenue, we want to make sure that the strength that we've got and the passion that families have got about their children and about kindergarten and about how kindergartens do develop and support community and children, we're going to have the ability to advocate strongly through that as well. I worry that because the roles change, because LMPA has to do the financials, the legal, the staff management and that sort of stuff, that people feel like their job is not important on committee anymore, when really it's critically important. The LMPA only exists to serve people like you.
Not the other way around.
Not the other way around, that's right.
Just on that comment though, like for me walking in and taking on the role of a president, I found the stuff that you're talking about that has been taken away, that was the terrifying stuff.
Yes.
Because I read through the old folders and I read, DHS stuff, and I just went, and I gasped and I thought, what the hell, like you want me to do quality assurance and you want me to do these, I have no idea. And I felt completely inhibited. Like I rang the president from last year and said, what the hell am I doing? And I had a list this long of all these things that I'd just picked up reading through and saying, I have no idea of these frameworks. I have no idea what is expected of me apart from the stuff that I had read. Where is the structure? Where is
really
a
big ask,
handover?
isn't it?
Where,
Really
like,
big
you know,
ask.
the President's meeting, okay, we have that, you know, once biannually or whatever it is. Okay, you're expected to attend. Am I going to go in there and there's going to be all these other presidents who go, oh, you know, the surplus is here and all these jargon that I'm thinking, what the hell?
And you don't have to do any of that now.
But I felt really confronted thinking, okay, we still have a liability. It's like all the stuff with the kinder, you know, the insurances and things like that. If you've just walked into a committee, like I have, I'm like, I'm standing there with my hands are going, where is the information? Where's the information to say, okay, like you get handover, but even our handover was something like, I'm not getting where we fit, like what is expected of you. Exactly, and it's intimidating. Like I've found that even just the things like managing the finances, yeah, you've got a treasurer. How do I support my treasurer? I have no idea what's what, how much we should have in this and how much we should do in that, and where does this stuff fall? So I think that's a really big thing to work with you guys. So okay, when the AGM comes up, where is all the information? Where do we put it out to parents and go, it's not as scary as going, you know, come on, we need a president. And I sat there just going, no way, I'm not putting my hand up.
And then an hour goes past and the doors are still firmly locked and you're not leaving until you've got a president.
And
Somebody
I
goes,
just
oh,
went,
for God's sake, I need to go
my husband
home.
looked at
As
me
a
and went,
treasurer,
what are you doing?
I think the president's an easier job.
Yeah, everyone says that. But what I'm finding is that I don't want to leave.
You delegate.
your role?
You
Well,
delegate.
that's what everyone said, but
treasurer.
I don't want to just delegate. I want to know and support.
So
those
Sandra,
people.
what's in place from your point of view to support the now new committees that we've got?
Yeah, all the information about running an AGM and what documents need to be handed over and all of that's all provided to the committees before they go to their AGMs.
Yep.
But how well it filters down and fits into people's
Yes.
own lives, because they actually lead a life away from kindergarten.
Yes.
Surprise, surprise.
Yes.
And you know how well it goes down is mixed
Depends on the
everywhere.
people that it's given to.
That's right, and it depends on what time they've got to put to it and how passionate they are about it. So all of this, there's lots of documentation available on our website for people to get in on. We try and run these stakeholders meetings every quarter. We often send out invitations to treasurers or presidents if anybody wants to meet with us, whether we do that in Swan Hill or in Bendigo or wherever it is. We'll actually go and meet with people and talk to them about things and talk them through.
So people can call you if they're struggling.
Anytime, yeah.